Hi, friends. I'm MSCA President Paul Lemley. I've got the governor, and there's a B. And what we're going to try to do is see if you can fit in this tiny desk.
I'm gonna do my best. I'm trying to figure out what grade this was.
Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it. All right. All right, here we go. Ah.
Are you having the flashbacks?
Oh yes. This is
What grade do you think?
This feels like it's got to be like first grade.
No. When was the last time you saw a 6-year-old?
Well, that is true, especially 6-year-olds now. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. Yeah, I don't know what this is. I don't know. What's your guess?
I think these are maybe 4th, 5th.
Maybe 4th, 5th.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, whatever it is, it definitely ain't made for old men like me.
Okay. Well, the little desk idea is for you to share who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And so we've had one of the most collaborative relationships between MSCA and the governor's office ever. What did you say to your staff to make that happen?
That we were going to do it. I mean, and here's the thing. It's like, we were clear from Jump Street about how important this relationship was. It was important because if you believe in the future of our state, if you believe that this is going to be Maryland's decade, as I don't just say, but I believe in to like every fiber of my core, where do we think that starts from? Who do we think is educating that future? Who do we think is making it attractive for people to come and stay here? You know, every single issue that we are working on, people have to understand it starts with public education. Every CEO that I'm talking to, every single week that I'm trying to convince them to come to the state of Maryland, you know one of the first questions that each and every one of them ask me? Tell me about your public school system. Yeah. Every single one of them. Because if they're going to bring their people, they're like, where are they going to go to schools? And so that's why the relationship between MSCA, which I know was a challenged relationship with my predecessor, and I said, I refuse to be able to lead.
Let's be honest. There was no relationship. It didn't happen.
It wasn't. And I said, there is no way that the Moore Miller administration is going to move forward without moving in complete lockstep and no daylight between MSCA and the work that we're doing in our administration. And it always said that, like, listen, that didn't mean that we're going to agree on everything, but what it did mean is that you were always going to be my partner in the work. You were always going to have a seat at our table. You were always going to know that you're going to have someone who's fighting for your issues on the second floor of the State House. And it's a promise that that we try to commit to.
If you work for the governor, we appreciate you.
That's right.
All right. So, light one. What's on your workout playlist?
Oh, so I'm an old school hip hop guy. So I've got everything from Jeezy, I've got old school Jay-Z, I've got Clips, I've got Dipset. So I have like, when I really want to get going, I'll throw on like Bring the Pain with Method Man and throw on Wu-Tang, and that gets me back to my my competitive athletic days.
Right. And you were a football player.
Yeah.
For what sport do you have the most respect other than football?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say the most respect for, you know what's really interesting? Rugby. I didn't know anything about rugby until I went to grad school. I knew nothing about it. And I went to grad school in England, and that's like, it's really, really big over there.
Yeah.
And I gained such a respect for those guys. And part of it's because I'm like, they're just as big as these football players. They're running just as hard. They're hitting just as hard, but they have no pads when they're out there doing no helmet. And I just became so fascinated by what they were doing, but also I started looking, because I'm really big into, like, I'm a real nerd and I'm into like all the data and stuff. Do you know that rugby actually has a lower injury rate than professional football?
No, I did not know that.
It's actually wild. And I'm like, how does that even make sense? That these guys are running around as big as they are and fast they are, and they actually get injured less. And I found out a lot of it's because rugby focuses more on technique than even American football. Because, and I was talking with a guy about it, and they're like, American football, like, y'all are trying to get on like Sports Center. So you're out there, like, you know, and you're putting a lot of faith in your pads. In rugby, we don't. Everything for us is technique. And so I gained a lot of respect for them, because I realized that people think it's just very brutish. It's actually not. It's actually a pretty beautiful game, and one that requires a significant amount of time and energy on technique, which I respect.
All right. In my house, I mop. What keeps the governor humble?
I cook.
All right.
I
And
cook.
I got a follow up.
Yeah.
Oh, is there a Wes Moore signature dish, and will your kids eat it?
Oh, absolutely. My kids, can I tell you? My
You got to
kids,
tell us what the dish is too.
and I definitely will. But maybe it's because they're just my kids and they're just like souping me, whatever. But it's like they think I'm the best cook. They're like, we really like when Daddy cooks. We really like when
Wow.
Daddy barbecues. We really like, and I keep on thinking to myself, I'm like, that's very humbling because I didn't think it's that good. But they love when I barbecue. They love when I get on the grill. But what I really love to cook is Jamaican food, and for me, Jamaican food, it always reminds me of my grandmother. My grandmother was actually born in Cuba, so she spent part of her childhood in Cuba and part of her childhood in Jamaica. And she actually, when she came to the United States, she was actually a teacher for 40 years. When she came to the United States, that was her job, public school teacher in the South Bronx. But what she always was, she was the cook of the family. And I remember even when I started to get in trouble, I got a lot of trouble when I was younger. Part of my punishment was always that they didn't want me on the streets. So my grandmother would say, "You need to come and help me cook dinner."
Sure.
She never really actually allowed me to help her cook, but what I basically became was like her sous chef.
Yeah.
And she was like, chop those green peppers, do this, do that, do this, and I would just watch her. And I got this like passion for cooking by just simply standing next to her. And so whenever I'm out there cooking oxtail or curry goat or curry chicken or ackee and saltfish, it comes out good because it's all her recipes, but it makes me think of her.
Okay. President Obama was famous for having dinner with his kids.
Yeah.
What do you prioritize in your family?
Same thing. Well, I mean, and honestly, one of the great things about the situation that we have right now is I would say I have probably one of the best commutes in all of Annapolis because I live across the street
Right.
from my office. And so we really do focus on making sure we have family time. We have dinner as often as we can as a family. Generally, Sunday dinner is like always protected, and it's always our time where it's just like, this is our time as a family where we just catch up. And we do have a rule also where it's like, part of the thing we have when we're having our family time, it's no devices, no phones, no outside communication, none of that kind of stuff. It's like if I have a call or if I have something like that, it can wait. This is my time with my kids. I can get to it later on, unless it is something that is like an absolute hair on fire emergency. I'm sure it can wait 30 minutes for me to spend some time with my kids. And so we really do try to protect that time. Because I think that part of the larger goal that we really have is for both Dawn and myself, we just want our kids to be as unaffected as humanly possible by all this other stuff.
And I have a Dawn question. Where do we see your wife in you?
Man, you see her in me every day. When you see me, you see an extension of Dawn. And my prayer is that when you see her, you see an extension of me. She's the most important thing that's coming to my life. And I remember, and she was actually raised by a teacher as well. I think my mother-in-law taught for 35 years up in Queens, New York. Taught public school in Queens, and she's a person who is not just, as I'll always say, she's like, she's my greatest defender, and I am hers. She's also in many ways my compass, where I think about the decisions I make. I think about the way I'm approaching different turning points, about like, how do you think Dawn would feel on this one? And what would she say? She's just a remarkable human being. And so I'm very blessed that I had a chance to marry my best friend. And so I pride myself on the idea that if people are seeing me or hearing from me, they know there's a bit of Dawn in there too.
That's awesome. Well, you shouted out 2 teachers already. Is there anyone you want to give a name to, a teacher who really had an impact on you?
Absolutely. Well, it's great because I've really come up, I say my whole background has been, I was raised by preachers and teachers. That has literally been my whole my whole family. So, you know, I have cousins. Shout out to cousin Mimi, who's down teaching in Prince George County. Shout out to my aunt Dawn. Shout out to my aunt Evelyn. Like I have educators all over the state of Maryland, who are like, who've not been just my personal backbone, but are some of my educational heroes. But I think about Alana over in Frederick County, Maryland's new teacher of the year.
Right. Congrats.
I mean, it's such a I'm just super proud of her, because she enters into the profession with such like vigor and such creativity and such love for her students. Like, she's the kind of teacher that we all want to have.
Yeah.
Like, if every child had an Alana in their life, like, Paul, we're good. We're fine as a society. And so I look at who she is and what she inspires and what she represents, not just in Frederick County, but I think for the whole state of Maryland. And she really inspires me, because I'm like, every aspiration that we want in our state can be fulfilled by the Alanas of the world. So I'm very proud of her. Shout out, Alana.
Governor Moore, thanks for being on this beautiful day in our tiny little desk.
In our tiny little desks. This is great, man. Thank you.